This is Independent American Forum. This channel is not affiliated with any political party, special interest group, or political action committee. My name is Steve. I am an independent, that is, an unaffiliated voter. I am not running for any public office. I am making this video solely because I love our democratic republic and the United States Constitution. Further, I believe they are both under attack right now. Indeed, I believe the U.S. Constitution is today hanging, as it were, by a single thread. So you are invited to join a discussion about how we can preserve our Constitution, our rights, and our nation. This is the second video I have made for YouTube. My first video was about George Washington's farewell address and about what the first president thought were the most dangerous threats to our nation. In this video, I'm going to discuss some modern threats that I think are deep concern for our nation. The first that I'm going to discuss today is the abuse of language by demagogues, would-be tyrants, and propagandists who are enabling the would-be tyrants' march toward authoritarianism. The first widely abused word I want to talk about is the word liberal. Now, the propagandists, when they use this word, usually mean a liberal is, number one, somebody who does not believe in the Second Amendment rights to keep and bear arms, and number two, anybody they disagree with. Now, that's really not what the word liberal means. So the word liberal comes from the Latin word liber, which means free. Liberalism as a philosophy began to develop way back in the Renaissance, but it became a real force when political liberalism began to be important during the European Age of Enlightenment. So let's say from about 1600 to about 1800 as an approximate range for the Age of Enlightenment there. Political liberalism strongly rejects the idea of the divine right of kings. And beginning in the 1600s, thrones all over the world, but particularly in Europe, were just shaken and rattled by liberals who didn't believe in their divine right to rule other people. Now, the most important overthrow of a monarch, in my opinion, was the overthrow of King George of Great Britain, who lost the right to rule certain American colonies. And we know how that ended. But we could also mention the overthrow of King Louis XVI in France, and we could cite the overthrow of a whole succession of rulers in Spain and Portugal who lost their right to rule South America, Central America, and Mexico. A very important movement in the history of the world. Interestingly, one Age of Enlightenment thinker who spoke very favorably of liberalism was, are you ready? Adam Smith, the author of Wealth of Nations. He said, if all nations would pursue the liberal system, his words, not mine, of free exportation and free importation, then all nations would become like one great big empire. And I hate his choice of words here because I don't like empires. But if we took that word out and we said like one great big commonwealth, that would make a lot of sense. He went on to say that famines would also virtually disappear from the earth if we had liberal free trade. Adam Smith was a free trader, of course, and also an internationalist, as were most of the founding fathers of this republic. And according to his own definition, he was also a liberal. How is this possible? Well, it's quite a paradox that the founding father of economic conservatism, Adam Smith, was also a liberal. It doesn't make any sense unless you understand what those words really mean. Now, here are 5 keys that I think are important pillars of traditional liberalism. Number 1, all human beings are born free and equal. Okay, most Americans wouldn't argue with that. 2, therefore, there is no divine right of kings to rule other people. Number 3, human rights come from God, not from the state. Not from governments, not from monarchs, and I would add, not from presidents. If we were ever to agree that rights come from government, then the government could revoke those rights that they had given us, couldn't they? Number 4, basic human rights include such things as freedom of religion, freedom of speech and of the press, freedom to assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances, the right to vote, the right to be free from arbitrary arrest and detention. And lastly, this pillar is important. Liberals believe that in a free democracy, everyone must be subject to the rule of law. Now, you will note that a number of these constitutional rights are under assault right now. They're being circumvented, they're being restricted, and in some cases they're just being violated. If you do not think that this endangers our Constitution, you haven't been awake and paying attention. Now, I'm going to make a bunch of other videos where I talk more specifically about a number of things, including our Second Amendment rights to keep and bear arms, and the right not to be unreasonably and illegally searched, detained. I'm going to talk about the right to be free from cruel and unusual punishment. Those are going to come up in future videos. I just don't have time to do them all at the same time. I am inviting you to join a really worthy cause. Saving the constitutional American Republic. We're hanging by a thread. Constitutional government is hanging by a thread. I need your contributions, but I don't want your money. I'd like you to send me your comments, your ideas, and your videos. If I like them, I'll put them on my channel. May God bless and preserve America.